Hi, welcome to Truckee Talks. I'm Maya Schneider. Well, it's our pleasure always to bring you new and different people here, and on today's show, we're bringing you an organization that's actually been around for a while, serving all of the Sierra Nevada, not just Truckee. It's my pleasure to welcome TJ Slocum from the Sierra Business Council.
Maya, thank you.
TJ, it's nice to have you here.
Yeah.
The Sierra Business Council really is in charge, in my mind, of measuring, monitoring, and helping to maintain the wealth of the Sierra Nevada. Am I close?
Yeah, you're really close, and really the definition lies in what is the wealth of the Sierra Nevada. And the Business Council was actually founded in 1994, and one of the underlying principles is that the wealth of the Sierra is made up of the social capital, the natural capital, and the financial capital. So really the people, the environment, and the businesses.
So it's not just measuring land or open space, but really a combination of those things. We do have a slide to pull up that sort of shows, it's a diagram that shows those three wealths and how they interlock with each other. And I think it's important to recognize that these three are all interdependent. You have the social capital, we'll talk about what that is, the financial and the natural capital, but you see them overlapping. Why is that?
Well, really, if you look at the intersection there, those are where the best decisions are made, is that you try to make decisions to enhance the wealth of the Sierra. And really, if you look at those are our greatest assets as well, as far as an area to draw business and in terms of our advantage in future economic development. And so the idea is that we'd like to have the wealth index, which I brought a copy of, as a tool for decision makers and business leaders and opinion leaders in the Sierra to get an idea of the direction that we're going in with these types of capital, things like the SAT scores, teen pregnancy, the natural systems that we live in, the job starts, the housing starts. So it's a tool and a resource for people in the Sierra to understand really what makes up the wealth of the area.
Well, we'll talk a little bit more about the Sierra Nevada Wealth Index and some of the different indices that are measured there. But let's back up a little bit and talk about the history of the Sierra Business Council, how it came to be, why it came to be.
I would love to. That's a really fun story. It was in 1994. Lucy Blake is the founder and current president of the Business Council, wonderful, energetic woman who's really developed an amazing staff. And the idea was to really look and see if there's business leaders in the Sierra Nevada that explicitly reject the notion that there's trade-offs in terms of protecting both the environmental and the economic health of the region. And Lucy really traveled up and down the Sierra to see if she could find people like this that really thought, if we're going to secure the long-term economic interest and vitality of the Sierra, that we need to pay attention to things like the social capital and natural capital and the financial capital. And amazingly enough, there was a number of people that this was a breath of fresh air. And so that was really the beginnings of the Business Council.
One of the things that always impresses me about the Sierra Business Council is the diversity of membership. I think, again, people who aren't familiar with the Sierra Business Council may get the impression that the Sierra Business Council is in the business of protecting open space, and that's the charge. And so you would expect to see maybe groups like the Sierra Club, but that's not at all what the Sierra Business Council is doing, and that's not the groups they're comprised of. That's not their membership.
Yeah, and we're actually active up and down the Sierra from Lone Pine to Quincy. And we have over 600 members right now. And I think it's really a testament to what we've been able to do in the Business Council, that we have small businesses here locally, like in Tahoe City and some of the shops here in downtown Truckee, to vineyards down in the foothills area, to ranchers up in Plumas County, to people involved in different aspects of agricultural production, from timber to orchards. To the ski industry, many people involved in the ski industry and the tourist industry, and they see this value in an organization that really is working towards a regional perspective of long-term economic growth and development in a sustainable way.
Well, let's show that map. We have a map to show that really sort of gives us an idea of what the SBC, or where the SBC is doing the work that they're doing. Of course, they're located here in Truckee, but if you look on the screen now, you're seeing several counties up and down the Sierra that are covered by the SBC. That's a large area.
Yeah, and it's a unique role that we serve in a unique niche. We're a regional organization, and we have actually projects going on in Sierra County, in Plumas County, in Nevada County, Placer County. We've been involved in Inyo. We're currently working in June Lake, Mariposa. So really we are a lot bigger than just our activities close to Truckee.
We're familiar with what we see here, but there's, as you say, activities going up and down the Sierra Nevada. What are some of the basic philosophies of the Sierra Business Council?
Well, I think that the basic philosophy is that if we are going to really look at the future of the Sierra, we need to understand that the best decisions that get made really do take into account the types of capital that we were talking about, but what gives us our strength is the quality of life aspects that we have here. And the reason that somebody picks up a business and moves it to the Sierra Nevada, for example, they're down in another area of the country. And the reasons they're deciding to move here would be the quality of life, the recreational opportunities we have, the quality of the schools that we have, arts programs. That's really what makes a community. And if you're going to invest in your long-term future, you need to provide for those assets to be protected, enhanced, grown.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Sierra Nevada Wealth Index. The reason I go back to this, my first introduction to the Sierra Business Council was several years ago when the Sierra Nevada Wealth Index first came out. And I'll hold this up for our audience to see. This is the 99-2000 edition. It's been updated. Dr. Amy Horn has put a lot of work into this publication. But this book actually lists county by county the different wealths that we're talking about. And what I'd like to do, TJ, if you can, is talk a little bit about how you measure those different wealths. What are we talking about when we say social capital?
Well, the idea with this was to give decision makers a tool to use to be able to look at the Sierra in a new way and to look at it from, in '94 there was a lot of fear and trade-offs when people were looking at future development, and we wanted to be one of inclusiveness and inclusive prosperity, really. And so we first needed to get a clear indication of where we are in the Sierra compared to other areas. And I mentioned some of the indices, but the idea of the Wealth Index is to take the different regions and then the Sierra as a whole and look at things like SAT scores and teen pregnancy and water quality and air quality issues and job starts and housing starts and see where we are compared to some kind of benchmark. So you can see how different regions are doing and how regions and the Sierra as a whole are doing against something like the state of California or the federal government or the United States. You
can see how from a policymaker standpoint, whether on the city or county or state level, this information would be helpful. How would a business owner use this? Why would they be interested in this?
Well, it's a really special group of people, I believe, that are the business members they see that if we're going to really maintain the assets and grow the Sierra in a positive way and not take away from the things that are moving people here and why we've experienced this tremendous growth, that there needs to be an organization that's promoting that on a regional level. And that's really the role the Sierra Business Council serves. And this is just one of our publications, but they like the businesses that are members understand the importance of protecting those assets. And really in today's new economy, people are moving into with the scarce job market to places that have those types of opportunities, that have the open space, that have the good school systems. And so if we're going to maintain a competitive edge, we really need to protect those.
And then they're moving up here and finding out that there's a dearth of housing instead of jobs. If it isn't one, it's the other. We do have another clip we can pull up that was a summary page. It'll be difficult for many of our viewers to get this in detail, but I just wanted to give an overview of the kind of information that's available in the Sierra Nevada Wealth Index. Findings about the social capital, how we're doing well in Nevada County, ways we could be doing better. Natural capital, same thing. How we're doing well, how we could be doing better, and then our financial capital, where we are and where we're moving. And it was fascinating to me, the amount of data in this book, and the summary page is great, but there's so much more to be had in here. But as you said, TJ, this is just one of the publications that the Sierra Business Council has put out. There are others. What else is the Sierra Business Council working on right now?
Well, In terms of the first question in publications, we have Planning for Prosperity, which is this document right here. It's an award-winning document. It won the Daniel Burnham Award from the American Planning Association, and it really strives to lay out some principles for sound development in the Sierra, and things like protecting your clear edge between rural and urban, showcasing your historic assets, revitalizing your downtown like we have here in Truckee. So that is something that has been met with a lot of fanfare, and a lot of people understand the need to aspire for those principles, but the difficulty now is how to do that.
And how to apply them.
Exactly, and that's really where the priorities in the Business Council, a lot of the priorities are for the 2001, 2002, the next couple of years.
Well, let me back you up a page here. On the Planning for Prosperity book, it's a planning book. It certainly will help policymakers, but I'll try to ask this in a way that's not too confrontational, but what makes the Sierra Business Council right? Lucy Blake had a wonderful vision, and she's worked very hard to create something with that. But how does the SBC stay in check with its own philosophies? Are there outside that work with the SBC? Where do the visions come from?
And I think that's a really good question. And I really like the answer, and that is that we believe that we don't have the answers, but we have ideas, and that communities themselves, if you put the right people together to work together to find the solutions to their own problems, can find those solutions. And so it's really working to have consensus and collaborative processes put into place that will help different communities and counties to do that leads to the best decisions being made. And communities accepting and liking the direction that they're going in and taking a little responsibility over it. So.
Well, and in terms of building collaborative processes, you also have the Sierra Leadership Seminar.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about that in the next segment. We're going to take a break right now. Again, we're talking with TJ Slocum from the Sierra Business Council, and we'll be back in just a minute. Welcome back to Truckee Talks. We're talking with TJ Slocum of the Sierra Business Council. And TJ, when we left, we were talking about the Sierra Leadership Seminar. And talk a little bit about what that is.
The Sierra Leadership Seminar is actually a program that's been in place for the last few years, and the idea is to train effective leaders in the Sierra and teach them collaborative leadership skills. And we actually have had over 100 people graduate from the course that's taught by Susan Carpenter, and we really feel that there's just no effective replacement for local leadership. So.
I had the opportunity to attend that and graduated that, and it's intense. You spend a lot of time trying to work on problems with people that are attending the seminar from all over the Sierra Nevada, and you find that even in a workshop setting, a classroom setting, you do have a problem getting that communication going. I think it's a very effective way of getting people to stop and take a look. And didn't make me perfect, and I know that, but it sure gave me some great skills to take with me back to the office.
Well, and I think it's really important that people understand the importance of collaborative leadership and collaborative processes. We were talking about that a little bit earlier, and it's really the direction that we need to go if we're going to solve some of the problems we have at the county level and the town level. And we need people to be working together, and not only working together, but understanding that people have opposing views and different views, and those need to be taken into account. And that's really where you're going to get a decision that represents the community well.
Well, TJ, you mentioned the need for collaboration. What are some of the challenges facing the communities in the Sierra Nevada right now?
Well, I think the out-migration, the Sierra Nevada will, as a region, will have a population of over 1 million by the year 2020. And it's just amazing the impacts that has. And you're going to have the growth, and it's really a matter of proper planning would make an enormous difference. And that's really why Planning for Prosperity as a document was put together, is that we need to be thinking about how that is going to affect quality of life here in Nevada County and Placer County and other areas. So.
Well, what else is the Sierra Business Council working on right now?
Well, we have a number of programs, and we've really moved from 1994 of being an organization that was doing the type of research we were talking about and putting these publications out to something that's going to implement it on the ground. And that's really the fun stuff that the Sierra Business Council
And the big
involved.
challenge.
Yeah, the big challenge, but then also really fun and a learning experience. And we just recently worked on the Placer Legacy Project, and we're actually continuing that. And that's a comprehensive science-based open space and habitat management plan for the county of Placer. And it's been about 2.5 years in the works, and it has the support of groups like the Sierra Club and then the Building Industry Association at the same time. So you can see that there is a middle ground, and there's a way to do these things and do it smart. And that's really what's happened with Placer Legacy. And now we're working in Nevada County, similar collaborative process to work to protect scenic vistas and recreational opportunities and open space and habitat in the county of Nevada. And we're really helping to facilitate that process as the citizens of Nevada County that are involved in this. We're working in June Lake, again, with the citizens at June Lake to help them come up with a community design for the future growth in their small little town. They actually have 1,500 new beds going in the town of June Lake.
Oh my gosh, is there enough room for that?
Yeah, and how that looks,
canyon.
and the character of the town, and can they
Yes.
maintain that, and what is it going to look like in the future? Is it going to be, strip mall type of commercial development, or how are they going to maintain the architectural character of the town, the things that really the community is concerned about, and the way that those decisions get made is collaboratively, and we're working down there on that. In Mariposa County as well, helping them with a series of forums to bring the community together to come up with the things that they feel makes Mariposa special.
So again, maybe it's the SBC's greatest role is in bringing together the various parties, the stakeholders, if you will, in planning development issues throughout the Sierra Nevada.
Yeah, absolutely, because there isn't a cookie-cutter approach that works, but there's a set of things that, in principles, like in planning for prosperity, that need to be taken into account, and that's really designing a process that can take these into account, the community can understand them, and then use them in a way that's applicable to someplace on the eastern side, different than what's applicable to something in the Grass Valley, Nevada City area. So,
Well, TJ, if I were a policy maker in the Sierra Nevada, if I were, and I came to you, hypothetically speaking, of course, and I said, well, TJ, I don't know anything about the Sierra Business Council. What's important for me to know?
Let's see. The importance, as someone that's involved in policy and decision making, I would say that the number one important thing to remember is that you need to have the involvement of the community. You need to have community buy-in into the plans that get made. You need the community to understand that the direction that the town is going in, and agree. For the most part, you're always going to have dissension on both sides, but it's really important as a decision maker to work to bring that to pass, bring the community together, have it come up with its common goals. That would be one thing that I think is really important. And then the other is to work and understand that you need to steer investment and energy and opportunity into enhancing the types of capital that we have in the Sierra. We need to protect the natural capital, the social capital. We need to invest in affordable housing opportunities. We need to look into other areas of the country and see who are doing things well and collaboratively and what kinds of solutions are out there, and try to learn from people. And I said there's no cookie cutter approach, but there's some good things that are happening in a lot of areas.
Would you say that it's the Sierra Business Council's charge or philosophy to limit growth or discourage businesses from being here or stop development from happening?
Oh, absolutely not. And I think that that's a naive approach, and I truly believe that we're moving as a society beyond those really bright lines in the sand. It's growth versus no growth. It's the economy versus the environment. That's why the Sierra Business Council was started, because we don't live in that type of world. What we do live in is a world that we absolutely are growing. That's a fact. We are going to have development, and it's an issue of smart development, community-centered development, town-centered development, the things that enhance the quality of life here, and that's really the opportunity here, and in the direction that we need to go into. And
so the vulnerability then, perhaps for some of the community leaders throughout the Sierra Nevada, is to rise to the challenge of learning about collaboration and listening to the community, and then really listen. As the communities start to get hip to this idea of talking to their leaders, talking to their elected officials, talking to the people who do the planning, they need to then challenge their leaders to say, you need to stop and listen to me, and you need to stop and work with us. And how does SBC work with communities just at large to say, you need to be a participant in this process?
Well, we talked about Sierra Leadership Seminar, and that's one. That we need to have people that are trained in the skills that it takes to be able to put these processes together at a regional level or at a local level. So that's one way that the Sierra Business Council does that. And the second way is through really putting our efforts and energy into things that will work or we think will work. And that's why we chose to get involved with the Placer Legacy Project and to really see if it was possible to come up with a collaborative, science-based, open space habitat management plan that will work. And what we found, and hopefully you'll still say this in 10 years, is that we have. And you learn through those experiences. And really I hope that the June Lake experience that's just starting is something of similar magnitude, where look, this is actually if this is working, it's put a plan into place, and other areas can look at that for suggestions.
TJ, we just have a few minutes left, and I want to make sure that you get out any information that's important to you as far as talking about the Sierra Business Council. Is there something else that you would want the audience to know about the SBC or what it is that they're doing? I
guess the biggest thing I'd like people to know about the Sierra Business Council is that we are an organization of over 600 members now, and we're extremely diverse in our membership, and that speaks a lot to the Sierra as a whole and the businesses seeing value in long-term planning, and that our economic prosperity is rooted in preserving the assets that we have that make this place so unique and special. And so that would be the first. And the second is that the second one, I guess, would be that Investing for Prosperity is coming out. I'd like people to know that we have a new publication coming out. People should go online if they want to find out more about the publications that we're working on, the programs that we're working on. That would be, I really encourage people to do that, because we've had this short conversation here, and we've talked about the Business Council, and everybody has a different image in their mind of what the Business Council is, and that's an image that's growing, and it's growing with support, and people should take the time to look into what we do and the programs that we have going. We didn't even touch on the Sierra Valley Ranch Project, which we're working in the Sierra Valley to protect just the uniqueness that's there with ranchers and
Inyo 2020 and Inyo County.
Yes, exactly.
Well, let's talk about a couple of ways that people can get a hold of you. The Sierra Business Council, their offices are located here in Truckee. That's just our good fortune. And the telephone number there is 582-4800.
Yes.
And then you do have a web.
Yes, which is www.sbcouncil.org.
Okay, sbcouncil.org, and that's another way to get a hold of the SBC.
And if there's anybody that's out there that's thinking about or involved in some type of development or concerned about how they're going to design something, we have something called the Resource Directory as well, which is a list of professionals, planners, architects, designers, and everything from brownfield development to green building to community center design to facilitation and mediation. So that's an excellent resource for people as well.
That's great. That's great. Well, TJ, I really appreciate you coming onto the show and talking to us about the Sierra Business Council. I've had the opportunity to work with a number of people in your organization, and I really appreciate everything that the Sierra Business Council is doing.
Thanks, Mark.
I don't usually get on Truckee Talks and advocate one group or another, but I'm really comfortable in saying that anybody that's interested in information about the Sierra Business Council should find out more about the council and what it is they're doing here in the Sierra Nevada. Everything that we live here for is at risk, and that's not just the environment. We're talking about all of the wealth that we spoke of in the first part of the show.
And the opportunities are enormous. We're in the
Yeah, and that's a great way to look at it too. TJ, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
It's nice to have you here. And thank you for joining us on Truckee Talks. We'll see you next time.